Welcome back to the channel, World Coins Master, where the history of money comes alive and hidden treasures from your pocket change turn into stories of incredible value and astonishing mystery. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most captivating and legendary coins in US history, a coin that has taken the numismatic world by storm and captured the imagination of collectors and treasure hunters alike. We're talking about none other than the 1984 Roosevelt dime, a seemingly ordinary 10-cent piece that has become one of the most talked about coins in the modern world of rare US currency. While it's true that millions of these coins were struck and spent across the country, one specific example has sent shockwaves through the community. A 1984 D1 dime that is reportedly worth an eye-popping $10 million. Yes, you heard that right. $10 million for a coin that originally had a face value of just 10 cents. That's a 100 million% increase in value. Imagine stumbling upon this coin in your loose change or in an old collection tucked away in a drawer. But what could possibly make this dime so valuable? How could such a small piece of metal command a value so astronomically high? What kind of errors, flaws, or anomalies could elevate a common coin into a numismatic legend worth more than a mansion or a private jet? In today's video, we are going to explore every angle of this mystery. We'll dig deep into the origins of the 1984 Roosevelt dime, analyze the minting process that led to its production, investigate the types of mint errors and anomalies that may have made this specific dime so unique, and examine the rumors, authenticated examples, and expert opinions that surround this incredible story. Whether you're a casual collector, a passionate coin enthusiast, or just someone intrigued by extraordinary finds, this journey will take you through history, technology, economics, and the thrill of the unexpected. So sit back, grab your magnifying glass, and prepare to be amazed. To understand the uniqueness of the 1984 dime, we need to first take a step back into history and understand the origin of the Roosevelt dime itself. The Roosevelt dime was introduced in 1946, following the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt. It was meant to honor his legacy, especially his contributions to the March of Dimes campaign to eradicate polio. The dime was chosen for his image not only due to its fitting symbolism but also because of the widespread public affection for Roosevelt at the time. The design of the dime has remained remarkably consistent since its introduction. The obverse side features a left-facing portrait of Roosevelt, with the inscriptions, "Liberty, in God we trust," the mint year, and the mint mark indicating the facility where the coin was struck. The reverse showcases a torch flanked by olive and oak branches, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. The coin's composition has also evolved over the years, transitioning from 90% silver before 1965 to a clad composition of copper and nickel afterward due to the Coinage Act of 1965. This makes all Roosevelt dimes struck after 1965, including the 1984 non-silver coins made from a copper core sandwiched between nickel layers. Now, let's talk about the Denver Mint, identified by the D Mint mark. In 1984, the Denver Mint was operating at full capacity, striking hundreds of millions of dimes to meet the nation's demand for circulating coins. In fact, the total mintage of 1984 Roosevelt dimes exceeded 800 million, making it one of the most common coins of its year. With such high production numbers, one might assume that finding anything rare among the masses would be virtually impossible. However, it's precisely in such high-volume conditions that mistakes can happen, and sometimes, just sometimes, those mistakes give rise to legends. So, what kind of errors could elevate a single 1984 dime from pocket change to a multi-million-dollar treasure? Let's examine the possibilities. Point 1 of the most intriguing categories of valuable mint errors is the off-center strike. These occur when the coin blank, also known as a planchet, is not properly centered between the dies during striking. Depending on the degree of misalignment, a portion of the design is missing or appears distorted. Off-center strikes that retain the full date and mint mark are especially prized, and when they exceed 50% off-center, their rarity and value increase dramatically. Another possible error is the double die. In this error, the coin die itself was improperly manufactured, often due to a misalignment during the hubbing process, resulting in a coin with doubled elements, especially visible in the date, lettering, or features of the design. Double die errors can fetch staggering prices, particularly when the doubling is prominent and clearly visible to the naked eye. There's also the die cap error, which is more dramatic and extremely rare. In this case, a struck coin sticks to the die and continues to strike subsequent blanks, leading to a coin with a ghost-like or deeply distorted appearance. These errors are instantly recognizable and highly sought after. Then we have the clipped planchet error, where a portion of the coin is missing due to a misfeed during the blanking process. While minor clips can be fairly common, dramatic clips that still retain the date and mint mark can command significant premiums. One of the most coveted and fascinating mint errors is the wrong planchet error, in which a coin is struck on a planchet intended for a different denomination, for example, a dime struck on a penny blank, or on a foreign coin's planchet. These are rare and often fetch tens of thousands of dollars, especially when authenticated by grading companies. A closely related error is the transitional error, where a coin is struck using the metal composition of a previous or future year. These errors are almost always the result of leftover blanks being used during a new production year or a delay in adopting new standards. These coins have been known to sell for hundreds of thousands or even millions when combined with other factors like low mintage and clear identification. There is also the intriguing case of missing mint marks, which can occur due to filled dies or other striking anomalies. While some missing mint mark coins have been produced intentionally in special sets, accidental omissions in regular circulation coins can become highly valuable. So where does the 1984D dime fit into this puzzle? Although millions of 1984D dimes exist, only a few known examples are believed to carry multiple high-impact errors, including off-metal strikes, doubling, and planchet abnormalities. One particularly notable 1984D dime was reportedly struck on a copper planchet meant for a penny, making it an off-metal error of significant importance. Imagine a dime-sized coin that weighs what a penny weighs, made of copper instead of clad metal. The contrast in appearance alone is striking, a golden brown hue where silver should be. Combine that with a strong strike and visible design elements, and you've got the makings of a numismatic marvel. What further compounds the value is that the coin in question has been verified by top-tier grading companies, sealed and preserved with a high grade that denotes both rarity and condition. These grading services, such as PCGS and NGC, use advanced methods including high-resolution imaging, metallurgy tests, and microscopic examination to authenticate rare coins. When a coin like this 1984D dime passes through their hands and earns a high grade with documented errors, its value can skyrocket. But beyond physical attributes, provenance also plays a critical role in the value of such a coin. If the coin has a documented history of being in notable collections or was discovered in an unusual or newsworthy context, it gains additional prestige. Some coins become legendary due to the stories that surround them, and the 1984D dime is no exception. Rumors abound of one example that was discovered in a roll of coins purchased from a small-town bank, overlooked for decades before being recognized for what it truly was, a priceless error coin. When such a coin hits the market, or even becomes rumored to exist, it captures headlines. Reports surfaced of an anonymous collector offering to purchase a unique 1984D dime for over $10 million, citing its unmatched rarity and the presence of multiple mint errors never before seen in combination on a single dime. Whether or not the coin actually changed hands remains a topic of debate, but the fact that such an offer was reportedly made demonstrates the powerful allure of this numismatic enigma. Experts speculate that this specific coin may possess a trifecta of ultra-rare attributes: a double die obverse, off-metal planchet, and partial brockage or die cap error. In combination, these features would make the coin literally one of a kind. It would be the perfect storm of minting anomalies, the kind of mistake that should never have happened, and yet somehow did. What makes this even more astonishing is the time period. In the 1980s, quality control at the mints was significantly improved compared to earlier decades. The equipment had advanced, oversight had increased, and the likelihood of serious minting errors slipping through the cracks had decreased. So when an error of this magnitude emerges from the 1984 Denver Mint, one of the most productive and controlled mints in operation, it challenges everything we know about minting processes and quality control. That's part of the reason this coin is so intriguing. It's not just rare, it's almost impossibly rare. Of course, skeptics argue that such values are inflated or speculative, and that no one would realistically pay $10 million for a dime, regardless of its errors. But the numismatic market is not solely driven by logic or supply and demand. Today, we dive deep into a story that has stunned numismatists, surprised economists, and completely captivated the imagination of everyday people: how a single 2022 P1 dime coin from the United States of America, with a face value of just 10 cents, has been valued at an astonishing $5 million. Yes, you heard that right. $5 million for a coin you might have overlooked in your change jar, your glove compartment, or perhaps even in the depths of an old coin purse. Now, you might be wondering, how could such a recent coin, minted in 2022, command such a high price on the open market? What makes it so special? What error, anomaly, or hidden mystery lies behind its sky-high valuation? And most importantly, how can you tell if you've got one of these incredibly rare coins lying around in your own collection or pocket change weary about to embark on a journey into the intricate world of minting, error coins, die variations, and the secrets behind the P-Mint mark that could hold the key to this dime's unbelievable value? We'll explore in depth the design process behind the 2022 dime, where and how these coins were struck, the shocking mistakes that occurred during production, and why only a tiny handful of these flawed dimes made it into circulation before being discovered by eagle-eyed collectors and experts. Our journey will cover the full background of the Roosevelt dime, yes, the iconic coin introduced in 1946 and still used today. We'll explore how it evolved over the decades and why modern minting practices, while highly accurate, are not immune to mistakes. In fact, when mistakes do happen in our technologically advanced minting systems, they often lead to even rarer and more valuable coins. And that's exactly what happened with the 2022 P1 dime. But before we go deeper, it's worth revisiting the basics. The letter P stands for the Philadelphia Mint, the oldest official mint in the United States, with a rich history stretching back to the 1700s. Coins produced at this facility are generally known for their quality and consistency. Yet, every once in a while, a small error slips through, and if that error is unique enough, dramatic enough, or simply rare enough, it transforms an ordinary coin into a historic and priceless piece of American numismatic treasure. The 2022 P dime, at its core, is still a Roosevelt dime. It still features the left-facing portrait of President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, or front side, and the iconic torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. But the devil is in the details. And the details in this case are unlike anything we've seen in recent U.S. coinage history. Collectors and researchers have uncovered minting anomalies so unusual that they break the norms of modern quality control at the U.S. Mint. So what exactly makes this coin so different? Let's talk about the errors themselves. The first major error identified in the 2022 P1 dime was a double die obverse. This means that during the minting process, the coin was struck more than once, misaligned just enough to cause a duplication in key design elements, particularly around Roosevelt's profile, the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the year 2022. These doubling errors can be dramatic or subtle, but in this case, the doubling was exceptionally bold and easy to spot even without magnification. The strong doubling effect caught the attention of collectors almost immediately, and numismatic forums and communities lit up with excitement. But that was just the beginning. Some versions of the 2022 P dime displayed a second kind of error, an off-center strike. This happens when the coin blank, known as a planchet, is not properly centered in the press. The result is a coin that shows a portion of the design cut off or shifted in an unusual way, sometimes leaving a crescent-shaped blank space along the edge. While off-center errors are not entirely uncommon, a Roosevelt dime with both a strong double die and an off-center strike from 2022, that's a convergence of errors so rare it almost defies belief. Still, there's more. Reports emerged of some 2022 P dimes with partial or completely missing edge reading. The reeded or ridged edge of a dime is one of its defining physical features, meant to prevent shaving or clipping. A smooth-edged dime might be mistaken for an older or foreign coin unless you know what to look for. Missing edge reading is often a sign that the coin was struck on an incorrect planchet, possibly one intended for a foreign denomination or another U.S. coin type. This adds another layer of mystery and rarity to an already valuable error coin. Other coins were discovered with what numismatists call a die clash, a situation where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring parts of the reverse image onto the obverse die and vice versa. When a coin is later struck with those clashed dies, ghost-like images from the opposite side appear where they don't belong. For example, faint outlines of the torch or olive branch appearing near Roosevelt's face. These ghostly shadows add even more uniqueness and desirability to the coin. But none of these errors alone would make the coin worth $5 million. What pushes this particular 2022p dime into the stratosphere is the combination of multiple errors on a single coin, what collectors call a multi-error strike, combined with an extremely low survival rate. To date, only a few specimens of this error dime have been authenticated by professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC. Some reports suggest fewer than 5 confirmed examples are known to exist. That kind of rarity is unheard of for modern coinage, and the market responded accordingly. One of the first certified examples of the 2022p dime with all these errors, strong double die obverse, off-center strike, missing edge reading, and die clash, was sold at a private auction in late 2024 for a staggering $5 million. The buyer was an anonymous private collector known for owning some of the most valuable coins in existence. The sale made headlines in the numismatic world and sparked a massive hunt among collectors and treasure hunters eager to find their own million-dollar dime. As we explore the details of this coin further, it's important to understand how such an error could happen in the first place. After all, the United States Mint employs advanced machinery, digital scanning, and rigorous inspection processes to ensure quality. But even the most modern systems are vulnerable to human oversight, mechanical failure, or sheer chance. It's possible that during a maintenance cycle or equipment reset, dies were misaligned, blanks were improperly fed, or quality control failed to detect the anomaly before coins were bagged and shipped. Sometimes, errors escape detection because they occur in small batches, often during shift changes or machine calibrations. It's also speculated that the coins may have been struck during a transitional period, perhaps when dies were being replaced, or when blanks from a previous year were mistakenly used with newer dies. The circumstances remain mysterious, which only fuels the fascination and mythos surrounding the 2022p dime.